Good evening, everyone. How are you tonight? My name is Laney Shaughnessy, and I'm going to be your host. Hopefully, y'all are doing well. Well, 'tis the season. Summer is ending, and of course, fall is beginning. And we've got Halloween, we've got Thanksgiving, we've got Christmas, we got all kinds of neat things coming up. And I thought we would have just a little bit of a light class, simple projects and stuff, to some discussions, and we're going to make some things. And just to kind of get the juices flowing for you all. I'm hoping anyway that it gives you some ideas or some things to think about or do, and we're going to hopefully by the end of it all have come up with something pretty fun, right? At least that's the hope that we come up with something pretty interesting and all. So give me just a second to get things on track, and then we'll jump right over. I should have been a little bit more prepared, but give me just a moment and we'll get things rocking and rolling. Okay, let's delete that. Let's come in and let me pull up my screen. So, talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Alrighty. Now we can get over where we want to be. And I believe that is on camera number 3. Camera number 2, there we go. And let's get me down in the bottom right hand or left hand corner here. Wonderful. Let me turn that camera just a little bit. There we go. All right, so some of you have seen saw the thumbnail and saw this guy on the thumbnail. Thought it was pretty cool. We're going to be working with that, but other graphics as well. Let me set him aside for a moment, and let's clear the slate here. Okay. So for tonight's class, I am going to be working with a lot of different types of signs and things, sign sizes and stuff. But the first one we're going to start out with is going to be a 24-inch wide, 16-inch tall. Now, I normally kind of try to make it easy and stick with 11 and a quarter or 9 and a quarter or whatever, like a 1x6, a 1x8, 1x10 or 1x12. But on this one, I actually want a little bit more height, so I'm going to probably end up gluing up a panel, right? So we're going to go 24 inches long, 16 inches wide, 3/4 inches thick on this. Now, one of the things that I like to do each year is I like going to Lowe's and purchasing the kind of purple insulation foam board. It comes in different thicknesses and stuff, but it's a great, it's for what it is, it's a great way to make cool things for the yard, like, tombstones and stuff like that. And we've done that in the past and everything. It carves really nicely. Let me see if I can pull up an image Projects, to give you a general idea of what I am referring to. All right, let me pull this tab over on the screen. So this purple insulation foam board. Now, of course, there's HDU foam, which is like $500 a sheet. We're not doing that. We're not going crazy like that. We're going to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and we're going to buy some of this purple or pink insulation board. It comes in different colors, white and everything. And it carves really nicely for what it is. And after it's all done carving and done painting and everything, you can literally kind of make it look like a stone, right? In a sense. There's all kinds of different things. You can get kind of creative with it and stuff and have some fun with it. So tombstones are always cool and fun. And I like doing that. So we'll probably make a couple of those, a little different design and stuff. But first, I've got some, just some of your most common Halloween graphics. I've got some bats. I've got some spider webs and spiders. I've got some jack-o'-lantern faces. And Etsy is a great place to purchase these SVGs or DXF files and things. I've got old Frankenstein here and an ugly looking zombie there. This guy is pretty cool. He's going to be one of the tombstones that I'm going to be making. We'll do him in just a minute. But, you know, all of these graphics can be found on Google or Etsy and things like that, and different sites where you can, for very cheap, you can purchase them, or you can, some of them are on free sites and stuff, and you just bring the image in and trace it to create your vector. And so I've kind of, got some random ones here and all, but the first thing that I want to do is we're going to, before we do the zombie sign, I want to take a minute and I want to make a little door hanger. And we're going to draw this one from scratch. We'll use maybe some of the spider webs or bats or something that I have, but we're going to draw this one from scratch. And we're going to, excuse me for just a second. We're going to just make a simple door hanger, something that we can hang like right on our entrance door, right? Something fun and stuff. The thing that we're going to do for this is let's go with a little bit different size board. I'm actually going to go a little narrower. We're going to go let's go with a 1 by 8. So we'll go 7 1/4. And I'm going to go on that, I think 16 inches tall. I don't have my tape measure here, but what's that, about like that? So maybe for the door hanger, we'll go 20 inches tall. 20 inches tall. And for those of you that might have a digital wood carver mini carver, just turn that around so you can carve along the long length of your table and stuff. But we're going to go with this, and we're going to start off with, we don't need that yet. Let's go here. We're going to start off with some text. I'm just going to do some text here. We're going to go, I think I'm going to use a big bold letter. So I've got what's called Roboto Black. We might see what else we have there as far as big bold letters, but I'm literally going to just go B, enter, O, enter, O, enter, for boo, right? And I'm going to go into my Edit Text Spacing and Curve tool here, my Edit Text Spacing and Curve tool, and I'm going to reduce the spacing between the letters here. So we're going to go there. And it's between the lines, actually. That looks good there. Right? That looks good, yeah. And what we're going to do is get it centered on the board. And I think I'm actually going to stretch it out a little bit more. As big as I can to fit in there. And I'll be happy with that for now. Okay, let's go ahead and I'm going to try to reduce that line spacing a little bit more. That'll be good. Now, on this particular one, I'm going to use the curve. Let me see. How do I want to do this? I'm going to use the ellipse tool. And I'll use the ellipse tool. And I'm going to draw an ellipse here. And a small one right there. And on the small one, I'm going to take and rotate that to about like that. And I'm going to go into node editing, and I'm actually going to pull it out just a little bit and give it just a bit of a curve, something like that. Now, the big guy here, I'm using the oval as the general starter shape, right? And then from there, I'm going to node edit and create the shape that I want and everything. And as we're going through, if you have any questions, make sure that you put a couple of question marks, 1 or 2 question marks in front of the question so I can quickly identify it and stuff. And hey, Mark, thanks, Mark Lindsay, thanks for dropping in and joining. And hello, everybody. Just hello, everybody. Thanks for coming in and joining us. But we'll come back to this down here in just a moment. I'm actually going to get out of node editing for a second. And I'm going to rotate that just a little bit more. Now, we're going to come in here and we're going to freehand draw a little bit. And I'm not an artist by any means, but hey, I think I can, right? So I'm going to go in and I'm going to kind of pull this down a little bit, give it just a little bit more bluntness at the top here. And here I'm going to actually kind of pull this in just a little bit. There. I'm going to pull this out just a little bit here and pull this. I think that'll look all right. Probably a little bit too extreme right there. So I'm going to pull this node down some so that whoa, not that far down, hit undo. Let's try that one more time. I want to pull this node down some and then I can shallow this up some. I want to kind of give myself a little bit more room right in here. And I just want a nice small curve. Let's drag that down just a little bit more. Bring that in just a little bit. That'll work. Now, I want to kind of bring this over some. Let's take this guy. Let's get out of node editing so we can move things around. I want to bring him down just a little bit, about right here. And I'm in node editing. I want to pull this into here, and I want to pull this out just a little bit. About like that. All right, now the the middle O here, this middle O, we're going to go in and convert the text to curves so that I can actually remove this middle O. We'll get rid of it. And this guy right in here, he's going to be my middle O, if you will, in everything. He's going to be my middle O. So what I want to do is get him like that. And of course, I don't know why it wants to jump like that on me, but that's okay. Cool beans. All right, so that'll be my general shape. Again, I'm not an artist, but hey, we are going to make, now we're going to make it, it happen for us the best we can. All right, let's take and I'm going to draw another ellipse. I'm using ellipse because it's just going to, I'm just using them to create a general shape. Now, by all means, you do not have to freehand this. You could go out and we're drawing a ghost, if you must know. We're drawing a ghost. If it doesn't look like it, it will in just a few minutes. But by all means, you could absolutely go in and trace one, right? Trace a cartoon style ghost, if you will. Now, here, this is going to, we're going to do a little bit of trimming to kind of start pulling things together, but this is going to come up and into his arm here and all. And I didn't we're going to insert a node or point here. We're going to insert a point here, and we're going to kind of pull these points in a little bit to create a little bit of fingers, if you will, you know, kind of like, you know, ghostly fingers, if you will. Okay, and let's make his arm just a little bit skinnier. I'll connect all this back together just for a minute with a smooth curve because I'm not quite ready to trim just yet. I thought I was, but I'm not quite ready just yet. Now I'm going to get out of node editing mode. I'm going to hit the escape key just so I can rotate a little bit. I want this to kind of be just up a little bit. And I'm actually going to cheat a little. I'm going to use this guy, since I've already drawn him here, I'm going to use him for the other side. So I'm going to hold down the control key, and I'm going to rotate him around. And I'm going to mirror this on itself. No copy, no flipping about job center. I just want to flip it horizontally. And let's get this in a position. Now, of course, I'm going to size everything. I'll get everything sized, you know, somewhat right here, you know, so everything fits nice and neat. Right now, I've got it really big. And, of course, it's bigger than my board as it stands right now, right? So, bear with me. It's a process. Now, luckily, we have graphics and everything that we can use on the others. They'll be a lot faster, but I just want to show you that you can make something pretty cool from something that doesn't look really interesting at all. We can make something very cool, and I want you to see that. And again, taking it from me, I'm literally not an artist. I can't draw, you can tell, right? But by the time we get it done with this, it's gonna be pretty cool. At least I think it will be. Let's, just to give this a little bit of character, I still got to go back and do the arms, but let's get... All right, let's go into node editing here, and does that look like a ghostly face? All right, let's okay, that's gonna be our ghost, right? Whoa. Okay. That'll be our ghost face. There. All right, let's take on his arm. Let's go into node editing mode, and I want a little bit of a curve here. And so I've got to make sure that if I'm gonna do curves and stuff, I've got to adjust the fingers accordingly and all of that stuff. Making sure that, and they don't have to be, 100% uniform and stuff. But what I do want to do is I want to rotate this to where it's pointing almost straight up. So kind of like that there, right? And the here we're going to trim. Now I can trim a little bit. So we'll trim this and this. Nope, I don't want to trim him just yet. Yeah. Yes, I do. I'm sorry. We'll trim that and that. And then we're going to create an offset of him. Let me make a little bit of an adjustment here. Okay, we don't want this loop here, so we're gonna turn that around. Okay. His hands aren't pretty, but it'll work. Let's go ahead and offset this. We're going to offset this inward, and I want to go, I think I want to go about 3/16 to 1/4 of an inch. Let's start with 1/4. We're going to go inward, and let's take a look here. Look, see. That will be good. That'll be good. Let's go ahead and offset this also 1/4. We'll do that one. All right, let's do this. I want to try to stay consistent. So let's go 3/16, 1875. And 3/16. There we go. All right, now I want to create a little bit of character right here and right here where things come together. So it just looks a little bit more not so bad, if you will. So what I want to do is I'm actually going to go into node editing mode, and I'm going to cut the vector right here. And I'm going to do the same thing Actually, I'm going to take this and I'm going to pull this down. Turn it to a Bezier curve first, but I'm going to pull this down about like that. And then I'm going to cut it right here in the middle. Cut the vector. And what I want is, take this, pull this down. Now bear with me. I want to join this with a smooth curve, and that curve loops around. So what I want to do is I need to fix that loop, right? So I want to come in here and fix all of this where it looks so funky. And where his head has just become kind of discombobulated here. Let me, as a matter of fact, let me undo that for a second. Let me get this right. Okay, so where we are here, I want to pull one more time. I want to pull this down and over. Pull this down and over. I want to make sure that it's joined back together as one closed vector. And it should carve well. Let me fix this. Pull this that way. All right, I just want that little character there, and I want to do the same thing over here. Let's turn this into a Bezier curve. I want to pull this curve kind of more so on this one, kind of in this direction. I'm going to remove a couple of points. There. Pull this down. And here on this arm, I want to actually insert a point here. Oh, always does that to me. Control Z. Pull that down. Tighten him up. Okay. Now, God, that is an ugly ghost. I'm going to show you what it looks like with one that we trace as well, too. But that is an ugly ghost, but at least it'll be fun. Bear with me a second. Let's fix his mouth. That might be the whole thing. You're like, Laney, if you think his mouth is the only problem with that ghost, you have seriously need some more glasses. Okay. So that will be good. Now let's do some trimming and let's kind of clean things up. So the O is going to be covering this part here. So we're going to trim and trim there and there. Okay. Right here, this is going to be covering the O. So anything inside the ghost is going to be gone, if you will. Let's see here. He is going to be covering the O. And okay, and then over here. Wonderful. He leaves a little bit to be desired. Let's see if we can give his curve a little bit. Let's see if we can get his curve a little bit better. Now, I just use the curve fit tool with a 10,000ths of an inch tolerance on that inside vector to alleviate or get rid of some of those nodes. So basically it redrew this vector and kind of got rid of some of those nodes, so I wasn't working with like a million different nodes and stuff. And I'm going to delete this point and turn this into a Bezier curve here. Let's delete this point too. Let's delete this point too. Okay. And let's take this guy and delete him. Still ugly, but we're getting there. All right, now we're going to take his head here, right? And we're going to connect that into over the B. So we'll take our scissors here. And basically, we're getting rid of anything that we're going to connect the outside borders together, and then we're going to, this kind of inside area here, we're going to kind of deal with. Now, let's, wonderful. Now what I wanted to do, what I'd like to have done was to, offset my O and my B before I trimmed. This is where when I step back and I zoom out and I look and go, oh, I forgot to offset those two letters, right? So we're going to, let me step back here. I'm going to undo. Let's close this tool and I'm going to hit undo. Bear with me a second. I got to step back far. Right to there. And the first thing I want to do is I want to offset my O here. Let's select that and that. We're going to offset inward 3/16 of an inch. Okay. And same thing with my B here. I want to kind of keep things consistent with that 3/16. Offset that. Wonderful. Now I can, come in and trim and stuff. So let's redo our trimming. Now this time on my offsets, we'll start up here at the B. My inside line is going to connect with the outside line, and my outside line is going to connect with the inside line. So when we are trimming, you're like, what did you just say? All right, so this line, if I trim this here and here, this line is going to connect to that outside line of that ghost, right? And here is going to connect with the outside line, right? So we're just literally kind of opening up, that highway. But we are, the B right here, the ghost is covering the B, right? So we, this part of the B is going to be gone, this and this. And so we're literally just trimming that, right? So that comes up. We'll do this side, this and that. So that kind of connects that together. Okay. And up here, it's coming in, and this part of the B is going to be concealed, and then we'll get rid of that. Okay. So that'll be that. What? Over here, this, and that. The inside of the O is gone. This, and that. Okay. So it's covering that O so you don't see what's behind it. Coming here, we'll get rid of this to begin with, and then everything inside the ghost. And we want to make sure that we connect our lines and stuff here. Let me step back one right there. Let's do this side, this, and that. This comes around up to here. We won't see, oops. We won't see this and this. That'll connect to that. And this will be gone. Okay. Here. Stand by. This is gonna, the ghost here, he's going under the circle and out here. He's going under and out. So this part of the circle will be above the ghost tail, because the tail is going to go through and behind, and it's going to come out from behind here. So that trim, if he is coming, he's coming over, and then here he's coming under. Sorry, that trim is backwards. We actually are going to get rid of this, and that, and connect that to there. And he is going into here. Let's see, he's going into there. He's coming over, bear with me, he's coming over. Over. Why is that? Why isn't, hold on guys. Come on, Laney, I've done this 12 times today. Let's see here. His tail is going over. This opening needs to stay there. That's a hole. That's a hole in the opening. That's got to stay. So if I trim this and that, there's my stay. This won't be there. That won't be there. And this over, under, up. Okay, hold on, let me back up. Over, under, that connects to that. That's gone. This connects here. Over. Oh, why in the hell? All right, guys. We are getting it, I swear. Why? He's covering the top of the O. He goes underneath the O. And there should be a solid piece of material here. So there should not be anything right there. Nothing should be cut right here. So if we get rid of that, that's it. What? Why was I making it so complicated? That's it. That's it right there. Holy jeez. I'm sitting there like, what? Okay. And then out here, this is going to connect. This is going to be seen. This is not seen. So let's take this and join with a smooth curve to close that back up. Take this and go into node editing mode. All right, cut the vector right there and join that back with a smooth curve. There we go. All right. Let's get out of here. So the only thing we're going to see on here is this little outline, our 3/16 inch outline in this part here. So we're going to see that. And so that means that and that will get trimmed. We're going to see that. Nope. There we go. There we go. All right. Sorry, guys and girls. We ran into a little bit of a technical difficulty on that. All right. So he's such an ugly ghost. All right. Now, I want to dress up a little bit, add a little bit of character in here. So let's go into one of our existing graphics. We'll take this guy right here. Might have to make my board bigger. Let's size this down. And the overlap, this is going to overlap ever so slightly. I want to go ever so slightly on here and across the top. Just a nice little overlap, because these this outside line, when I ungroup this, my overlap is going to essentially anything on the outside of the B is going to be removed. So we're going to trim that and that. Okay, and here the spider web is going to kind of it needs to connect. So it needs something to connect to. It's just kind of free floating right here right now. Can't have that. So I'm actually going to use a rectangle on this one. Somewhere right in there. And I'm going to hold down the control key, rotate this a little bit. Somewhere in there. And he'll connect to right about here. So everything outside of that we can get rid of. Okay, and then up here. Now I'm actually going to go into node editing mode. And I'm going to pull this curve out just a little bit. And then trim this away, that away, and that away. So it looks somewhat organic. I don't know why I drew that long rectangle. I just pulled it out. But let's zoom in a little bit closer here. Okay. All right. So we got our B there. Let's... We'll take a spider. Along came a spider. And he needs to be hanging from something. He can't just be kind of floating there in midair. So now the spider, we have to ungroup him so that we can just trim that line away. I'll make the web a little bit smaller on him, her, whatever, Charlotte's web. And then we will see what we've created so far. Okay. Oh, what is this going to look like when it cuts out? Okay. And last but not least, let's have a little bit of fun. We're not going to, it's just going to be a silhouette. We're not doing all the eyes and stuff. I know it's cutesy and it would look cute, but you got to remember this is all going to be cut out and hanging on a door. Now, if we do a placard like that, then yes, we could, but I'm actually cutting out the profile and everything. So this is just going to be a silhouette. So we're going to ungroup it. And for now, we'll, well, first of all, before I change him, I want to make a copy of him because I want to use him in another project. So that and everything. Now, ungroup, and then I'm just going to get rid of all the things that are not the silhouette. Okay. And last but not least, this is going to be on top, right? This is on top. So I need anything that would be behind it to be trimmed away. Okay. Anything that would be behind it to be trimmed away. Anything that would be behind it to be trimmed away. Okay. All right. Let's do some cutting. And let's see what we've come up with. I have no idea. All right, so first of all, I'm just gonna do one tool path at a time just so I can wrap my head around everything and stuff and make sure that everything is good. We're going to do a profile cutout, and it's going to be backwards, right? I'm kind of working my way back and all that stuff. But a profile cut, we're going to be cutting all the way through our material. Now, for this, you don't want a big old thick chunk of wood. I set the job up for a 3/4 inch board, but you know, really it should be maybe 1/2 inch, 3/8 at the most. So I'm going to go 3/8 because I could probably resaw a board down. Or I could get it from Lowe's. And I'm actually going to change that over here as well too. 3/8. It can be whatever thickness you want, but 3/8 will be fine. And, oops, let me get back on the board here. All right, let's do a profile cut, cutting all the way through. I'm going to use a 1/8 inch end mill instead of a 1/4 inch end mill. I'm going to try to get as close to corners and things like that as I can. And calculate. All right, let's preview that visible toolpath. Okay, so this is our silhouette, if you will. Here, we are going to, on our B, the inside of the B here is going to be carved away. The eyes and mouth are going to be cut out. The inside of the O right here is going to be cut out, and here that's going to be cut out. And I don't think I'll be able to get, maybe the 1/8 inch bit might fit in there and stuff, but you know, we'll see. Those are going to be inside cuts, so we'll cut those out. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. All right, now we got to give it some kind of character, if you will. It needs to be able to kind of, you know, see these things and stuff. So what I'd like to do, what I'd probably like to do is a bit of a pocket cut, if you will. So we're going to do a pocket cut on this, this, and this. And we're going to do a pocket cut on this, that will do. All of that. Now, this pocket cut is going to be not a straight pocket. Because I have the small legs of the spider and this and that, it's actually going to be kind of a bit of a V-carved pocket. So a V-carve with a flat depth. The V-carve with the flat depth is going to give me, it'll let the V-bit get into those tight areas where the end mill can't. And then it'll also let me have the end mill to kind of, you know, take out what it can. And we're going to limit this. We're either going to only come down maybe a 1/16 of an inch if we're at 3/8 inch material, a 1/16 of an inch. Possibly could go an 1/8, but I'm just going to leave it at a 1/16, 0.0625. We're going to use a simple 60-degree V-bit. We'll be fine with that. And on the end mill, I need the end mill to be able to fit in here and everything because we're pocketing, we're flattening all of this stuff out here. So the yeah, so let's go ahead and calculate that. Okay, preview that visible toolpath. All right, let's go black. Now, you got to think about some Halloween colors and, you know, and everything. And maybe, I'm not a painter, right? We might want to do some painting. We might want to do some painting or something to give this a little bit of life, a little bit of character, right? So if I were to let's see here. Let's give me just a second here. Imagine if me find it. Save image. All right, let me import this image. Now imagine if I would have taken an image such as this. And maybe chose this guy right here, right? Looks a little bit more better than my drawing, if you will, right? You know, I could have found an image, you know, similar to this. I could have traced this, if you will. Preview, apply, close. Get rid of this, and I've got all of these things to choose from. They could have all been, each one of them could have been a potential candidate for, you know, my boo sign, right? But no, I wanted to freehand draw it because I am just want to show you that it could be done. May not be pretty. This one might even have been a simple because of the O shape, right? Because of the boo, right? The O shape, that would have been a good one. Or this one right here with the arms, kind of, that's what I was kind of going for. But of course, if we look right here, let's size this up. Let's even size this up, and let's get rid of this one. Okay, so I think if you kind of compared, right, of what it could have been, I think I nailed it, right? Don't you think we nailed it? Right? But you kind of get it, you know, I nailed it. Now, and if I were doing that, I would have had the basically the text that B enter, oops, that B enter, O enter, O enter. That text would have been converted to a curve. It would have been offset inward, that 3/16 of an inch to create the offset. The spacing of it would have been whatever the spacing needed to be. And then we could have used our cool character here, right? And that could have been the ghost, right? And then it would have just been a matter of kind of trimming and things. But that could have been the sign versus what I made right there, right? But I wanted you to see that it could be done, you know, and it's essentially the same thing, you know. I could put my spider web up here in the corner and do the same thing there, and that doesn't change. The trimming doesn't change. Anything that the ghost head would cover gets trimmed away, and it all gets connected together. But you get it, right? And then what the missing key to all this was, was right up here at the very top of it all. Don't know how thick we want to make it, but we needed a place for our what are you doing, Lee? My little, where's my ring? So this gets gone, that gets gone, that gets gone, that gets gone, that, there we go. Learn how to trim, right? I need a place for my hole, for my rope to go through to hang it on the door, right? So How many of you are still with me? Y'all still with me? Y'all get it? Y'all kind of get it? Now, my ghost is not the prettiest. Like I said, I'm not an artist. I could have used something like this. I probably should have, if I was smart. I should have done something like this. I could draw that now. That's no problem. I could probably handle that. But you know, trying to get somewhat creative with the arms and stuff, looking a little funky. All right, if you like my ghost, give me a thumbs up, you know. All right, you know, those thumbs up help a lot. But so door hanger. So if we, you know, we've got a pretty cool door hanger. Let's paint it black for right now. And, you know, we're going to have some fun with it, right? And so now this could be anything, right? It could say Halloween for all I care, right? Halloween. It could be, you know, boo. It could be welcome, enter, anything like that, and it's just a door hanger. You're going to have a profile cut that, you know, cuts out the outline, and then whatever the center is going to be is what the center is going to be. Again, tonight's class is ideas, you know, simple Halloween project ideas, and, you know, all that fun stuff. But yeah, probably would have traced an image, I probably would have been a better looking profile there. Now, just so you know, one of the things that I could have done is with these selected, okay, essentially all of the outside vectors, they're going to get tied together, and I don't think weld would be the appropriate tool for that. Yeah, it would be appropriate for my my outside border, my profile cut. Yep. So I could weld that together. That's my profile. And then all the inside stuff would get trimmed so that it all connects. Again, everything that covers, everything that the ghost covers is, you know, hidden, right? So everything that the ghost covers is hidden when you're trimming this stuff together. Right? And look at there. That 20-minute cut or drawing that we just did, that 30 minutes, started at 7:30, it's 8:13. That 1 hour drawing that I did could literally have been accomplished in you know, a matter of moments. Right? So yeah, Laney, what you thinking there, buddy? But let's move on, and we'll go from there. And of course, this outside to outside, now I got to do this one because it's going to drive me nuts. That, and that connect together. That's all that. This is gone. Inside the eyes is gone. Between the eyes is gone. That's gone. That and that. This, and that connect together. Very good. This all stays, so that and that goes. This all stays, so this goes. That. This, and that. And one more, that right there. That's what that should have looked like. Okay, so that could have been the ghost sign, just better looking, right? So, okay, the moving on, let's go ahead and let me knock this out. That, and that. Come down here. This and this. That and that. That and that. And he stays. He goes. Okay. So that could have been the ghost sign, much better looking than what I created. So you get the idea, hopefully. And again, it could be boo, it could be happy Halloween, it could be Thanksgiving, it could be anything, right? And we could fill this up. You know, I could put the bat silhouette here, I could put the spider web there, I could put the spider. All of those things are just they're just character. Now I'm going to just leave this as this, right? Let's move this guy off to the side, set him to the side. Let's center him on the board, and let's center him on the board. I'm just making him skinny. I don't want to make my board any bigger right this second. But if I were to do a, once again, turn this off and these inside vectors off, that, his nose and mouth, and that. All of this inside stuff right here is a pocket cut with a V-carve pocket cut, if you will. And all that's doing is, oops, I got an open vector somewhere. Bear with me a second. Select all open vectors, and it's this guy down here at the bottom. And that's because of that little line right there. So let's trim that, close that off. Okay, one more time. All of this minus that, and that, and that, even that little guy. That's all a V-carve pocket cut. Okay, there's still another open vector somewhere. Preview that visible toolpath. And that's going to give it that character because it's going to give it kind of the outside lip, if you will. And then the rest of it, the eyes, nose, and mouth, the outside, the inside here, those are going to be a profile cut, cutting on the inside of the line all the way through. And actually, undo that. It should be an outside cut. When you do an inside cut, then the software is cutting everything inside and outside. It's reversing it. This should be an outside cut. An outside cut on this. Not an inside cut, an outside cut. On your profile, anytime your profile, that's an outside. And that's that. Sorry, I'm harping on. You guys get it. You get it. And this, you know, could have been a much cooler looking sign than what I had created, right? So it could be anything, and you could dress it up anyhow you wanted to, you know, whichever way you want it to go. So that's a fun little idea, those little door hangers. Put your little ring up there. Again, it's a circle, you know, however big you want your ring. Just big enough, make sure it's big enough that a rope can go through. And when you're trimming it, this trims away here and here, here and here. Oh, Lord have mercy, I did it to myself again. All right, there we go. So, you know, for your door hanger, for your rope or whatever it may be. Okay, cool. All right, let's come back to our job setup. I'll move that to the side. I can't. I'm sorry how ugly my ghost was, but like I said, I'm not an artist by any means, but you get the idea. Let's come back in here and let's change our board size back up. We're going to go 24 by 16. And by 3/4 inches thick. Now, this next sign could be that sign foam, that insulation foam. It could be wood. It could be really whatever you want it to be. It could be essentially be an LED light, if you will, right? We're going to basically, we're going to be using this guy. You saw this thumbnail earlier. We could use all kinds of different things. We're going to do one with old Frankenstein here next. And then we're going to do a couple of tombstones and everything. But here comes the buffering. Are we buffering? Am I buffering? Yeah. And Roger Brown, Sylvia Klosterman, y'all's ghost in your little chat emoticons are better than mine was. Now, in this, we're going to create a rectangle. This rectangle is going to literally cross over the lower part of our guy here, and it's going to overlap. We're going to put in some text. And for the text, I'm just going to, what you saw in the thumbnail, we're going to go enter, all capital letters here, enter. Okay. Get that in there. And this would be cool as a LED type sign. You're back. Have I been buffering? Have I been buffering? Because in my preview, it's showing. It didn't show any buffering. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. In my preview, it didn't show any buffering. I apologize. Okay. Well, hopefully we don't freeze up. Let me know if I do. Let me know if I do. All right. Now, what we need to do with this is we need to, the inside rectangle here needs to be part of the design. It needs to kind of blend with our outside profile of our zombie, if you will. Okay? And we're going to ungroup the zombie so it's all individual vectors. And we should be able to select our outside profile, that it's the line that goes all the way around the entire perimeter here. And we are going to take that along with our rectangle, select our rectangle, and we're going to weld those two parts together. We're going to weld them into one. Okay? We're going to weld them into one. All right? And we're going to now, we need our text that, the hand is going to be covering parts of that E and that R, right? So we're going to convert our text, make sure we got the right font and all that stuff that you want to use, and all that happy joy. We're going to convert that to a curve so it's broken up, and we're going to group the two vectors of the R together, so they're treated like one item. So we're going to group those two together like one item. And as a matter of fact, we can we can group the E and the R together as well. After we did these two, we can do those two. We should be able to group those. And that would be fine. Make sure there's nothing else touching, right? And now on this inside vector, which is basically kind of the drawing of the hand, if you will, I am going to select this chunk of meat here and this thumbnail. Nothing else, just that. We'll do this thumbnail as well too, this outside one only. But that one too. I'll do all the thumbnails. And we're going to offset. We're going to offset the this selected vector because it's only his arm. We're going to offset that outward, and I'm going to go just 1/8 of an inch. We're going to go outward and create this kind of, and of course, hold on a second. Make sure that the E and the R are not selected, just the hand for right now. We're going to offset that outward. And again, that's going to create this boundary line here. Okay? That's all it's doing is it's creating this boundary line. We're going to select our E and our R. We're going to select that boundary line last, and we're going to trim using the trim tool, clearing inside that boundary. Okay? Once we have trimmed, that boundary line is no longer needed, so we're going to delete it. Okay? So basically now it looks like the hand is kind of covering, you know, that E and that R. Okay? So we grouped the R together, the two parts of the R, the inside and the outside vector, and then we grouped it with the E, so those two items are treated as one. We selected our vector here, and we selected the thumbnails and stuff too, all this outside stuff. We offset it outward, and that outward boundary, that outward vector, became our boundary to trim to, so we can trim that. Okay. Now we're going to select our outside boundary, this rectangle all the way around him. Okay. We're going to select that outside boundary, and we're going to create an offset outward, and I'm just going to go outward. It depends on how much of a border you kind of want around this cutout, because it's going to be the profile cut. And in this case, I'm just going to go 1/2 inch. We're going to offset outward 1/2 inch. Okay. And we'll lower that down to get him on the board. And so our first cut is going to be, we're going to select everything on the inside here, all this inside stuff. And that's going to be a V-carve toolpath. We're going to have a flat depth, and in my case, I'm going to go 1/8 of an inch. I love 1/8 of an inch flat depth on raised type signs. It just looks good to me. I'm going to be using a 60-degree V-bit, and I'm going to use a combination of a 1/4 inch end mill and a 1/8 inch end mill, those two bits. Okay. And I'm going to calculate that toolpath. Now, this is saying, hey, you've got some overlapping vectors and stuff. Do you want to continue, or do you want to go to the vector validator? I want a clean vector, so let's go to the vector validator and let's search our selected. Now, most likely, this is going to be some of the little tracing areas. We're going to have some overlapping lines and some pixels and stuff. We have two overlaps. If we come over here, it's literally right here, these two pixels that are overlapping one another. So we will delete those. And the that should be it. So once again, let's let's do a search selected vectors. On our vector validator, and that should be cleaned up. So there we go. All right, so once again, we want to select our entire design. Now I turned off this inside vector right here. This inside vector, actually, I want him selected. So let's do this proper. Everything should be selected except for this outside vector. There we go. Let's calculate that. All right, so now we shouldn't get any overlap warnings or anything like that. It should just calculate straight through. There's a little bit of detail and stuff in here, so it's going to take a second to figure out what it wants to carve, what it doesn't. All right, and if we were to preview this, because the word enter had that rectangle around it, if you will, it's going to be, those letters are going to be raised up. So we've got our in-bill and everything. And of course, we could be creative with the type of coloring or paint that we do. We could really, I'm not by any means, I've seen some beautiful painted projects and all, but and stuff. And then our final cut is going to be a profile cut, cutting on the outside of the line all the way through our material with a 1/4 inch end mill. And I'd like this opening area right here to be cut out as well. So I'm going to select that also. And what that means is this little bit of detail right here is going to be gone and stuff. But I'd actually like to cut that out there. And there. That's going to be on the outside of the line with my 1/4 inch end mill. We're going to calculate that. Preview that visible toolpath. Oh, let's undo that. Okay. And so, you know, simple little zombie sign, if you will, right? You know, enter, you know, it could be the opening of a haunted house or something, whatever you guys and girls do, right? It could be the entrance. But imagine with a really creative, colorful painting, right? A really cool, like really painted gore, you know, black in the mouth areas and everything, and then, you know, the hair, the bloodshot eyes, and, you know, just all of that cool stuff, right? I'm not a painter by any means, so I'm not that cool and that creative when it comes to that. So all of my projects are trying to just kind of semi one colored and stuff. But so that was the sign that you saw in the thumbnail, and that would be the making of it, if you will. Okay, so very simple thing. But now let's do a tombstone kind of layout on a couple projects. Let's take that vector and move it to the side. Cool beans. And on this one, I'm gonna go narrow and tall. I'm gonna go 24 inches tall possibly 30 inches tall. And I'm going to leave it at 22.5 inches wide. And then I'll decide what I want to be from there. But, so now, we could have some fun. So here's a cool graphic that I found online that had a, somewhat of the, a shape of kind of like, an old casket and everything. I thought it was pretty cool, but that could be a fairly cool on the foam, right? The foam and stuff. Now on this one, I'm not going to select the outside vector. So that outside vector is a profile cut only. That's going to cut out the shape. The rest of it is going to be selected, but not this outside vector here. And it would be straight up V-carve. V-carve, again, you can go however deep you want. Me, I'm an 1/8 inch kind of guy, but if you want some, maybe a little bit more depth or definition, try a 1/4, right? I'm going to go a 1/4. But I want the bit to be able to fit where it can, so I will use a combination of two different bits, 1/8 inch and a 1/4 inch bit. And we're going to calculate that. And it could be just this simple where and I'm going to show you how to create your own as well too. But it could be like super this simple where we find that a graphic that we can create that center design or that design or something, and everything, and it's just a matter of carving and then kind of painting it. This is going to have a 3-dimensional kind of look to it, so you can do that stone spray stone paint and really kind of just give it that rock texture. That foam, you prime it and then it paints really neatly. Text on text, do not enter. There you go. Enter at your own risk. All of those fun things. This is going to use a 60-degree V-bit, a 1/4 inch end mill, and an 1/8 inch end mill. I could have just stuck with the 1/8 inch end mill, and there's only a little bit of flat areas, so one bit would have been fine. I didn't have to go both. Preview visible toolpath, but that will go in and carve, and we'll come in and turn off the color for a minute so you can see the detail in the carve here, right? So you can see those areas being carved and everything, and that raised effect, and give it a bit of color, whatever the case may be, and it could be really fun. Our final cutout on this, I don't want the cutout so close to the carving. As a matter of fact, let me bear with me a second. I want to shrink this down just a little bit, not much. I want to recalculate this toolpath on that smaller design. Recalculate that real quick, because on this outside vector here, and all, let it calculate. Can't believe my ghost turned out so ugly, but hopefully you got the idea. Yeah, the stone look. And again, remember what we're talking about here. If I pull that tab while that's calculating, if I pull that tab back over here, this sign that you see right here that the mouse is moving over, that started out as this insulation foam, right? And this is this is a look at it, you know, when it's carving in its raw state, right? So literally, you know, from here with a little bit of creativity and color, you know, a little bit of whitewash, you know, some gray, kind of, you know, ain't nothing, you know, smeared about it, give it kind of that marble look or whatever the case may be, and everything. Other fun projects that you see here are these little lanterns. There's all kind of vectors on Etsy for these CNC lanterns, these pumpkin jack-o'-lantern lanterns. These are popular projects. They are absolutely amazing, fun projects. You can get little LED light candles. So those are great ideas for Halloween and things. But you know, the tombstones, you can do all kinds of fun stuff. And you know, little metal rods stuck in the bottom of the foam, it'll stick right in the yard, kind of deal. But that's what we're kind of doing here. And so this profile cut, this outside profile cut here, is going to be offset outward. And in this one, I'd actually like kind of a wide offset. So I'm going to go about 1 inch. Create sharp corners. I want those sharp corners. And that's fine that I'm outside my line here. It's no big deal there. But that profile cut is exactly what it is. It's a profile cut cutting through the material, 1/4 inch end mill on the outside of the line. Use tabs, you know, create tabs if you need to, whatever the you know, the situation calls for. And I'm gonna reset this preview, and then I'm gonna preview that design again. And as far as you know, the shape, the outside shape could be anything. When it comes to your standard tombstone, basically, you have your rectangular shape. You have your arch top. So I could come in here on the rectangle and turn that to an arc. Right, so there's our basic standard shape. We could, on here, we could take and bring that down so it's not so tall. But we could put in our own you know, splits and cracks. And it's just a matter of trimming, right, to create that profile cut. Now, of course, your bit, you know, it's got to be somewhat wide enough so your bit can fit in there. But you could even not do it where it's actually the profile cut. That could have been just a V-carve cut in the foam, just to give it the illusion when it's painted of the crack, right? It didn't have to cut all the way through. It didn't have to be part of the profile. We could have simply taken on this. I could have joined it with a straight line to close it off at the end. I could have went into node editing mode and just pulled those nodes out past my border a little bit, and that could have been just a V-carve cut just on that vector, and then my profile cut cutting out. Right? So you know, whatever shape, you know, be creative with your shapes and stuff. There's all kinds of fun things. And let's do one more, or we're going to do a couple more, but let's do one more here. Let's take this guy and move him out of the way. Now, Frankenstein. Let's do Frankenstein first, and then I'm going to end with the big finale. Let's do Frankenstein or one of these zombie heads. It doesn't matter, but let's grab him. All right, I'm going to center him on the board, but I'm also going to use the up arrow key to bring him up towards the top a little bit. And I'm going to take a rectangle tool. And I'm going to move this up. Okay. Let's oops. Hold on. All right, we're going to go, this time we'll go a little bit creative with our font. And all right, I'm going to break this up into 3 individual lines by right-clicking on it and breaking the text block that I've just created of House of Horror into text lines, so that these are individual lines. This way, I can size and work with these things independently and everything. So I'm going to size this down a little bit. And I'm going to center it. Since my rectangle here is currently centered left to right on my board, I'm going to center my text the same way. Let's get something along those lines. Now, again, we are going to, on here, we're going to create kind of a singular line boundary. And if I ungroup old Frankenstein here, ungroup him, that outside vector that goes all the way around him, that's the vector that I want to basically kind of connect, if you will, to this rectangle. Now, what I do want, what I would like is, I would like to go ahead and create my offset of, what am I trying to say here? Well, let me weld him together first. So we'll take this, and we're going to weld that together. And when we do, that's going to sew his head, if you will, onto the board here. I'm going to clean this up. Okay. And so that's going to sew his head onto that box there. And I'm going to take that new outside boundary right here, and I'm going to offset it outward to create my frame, if you will, right? So I'm going to offset outward, and I'm going to go, for this one, I'm going to go 3/4. Square corners, I want to keep square corners for my sign to the best of the ability. You know, I want to try to keep things square, and that's going to be my profile cut to cut out. But here again, with this, if I select all of him, I need to first, when I do this carving, I want to see what his face looks like, because if you recall, a V-carve toolpath cuts between the selected lines. So it cuts between 2 lines, skips, cuts, skips, cuts, skips, cuts, skips, right? And I want to make sure that I'm carving the correct areas and leaving the raised areas that I want to leave. I don't want it to look funky. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a V-carve toolpath for my preview purposes only. Same settings. I'm not going to change anything. I'm a creature of habit. So 60-degree V-bit, 1/8 inch. I'm going to continue with the vector validator because I want to see it's something on him. Let's see what needs to be cleaned up. Right there on, right there, that 1 pixel overlapping, just delete that. Okay, that's all it was. So once again, I don't want the outside border selected, just the inside stuff, all of that. And we could search that selected again just to make sure it was the only thing. And then we're going to calculate that. How would we turn it to fit our table? So if you have a 2440, once everything is designed and everything, 24 inch by 40 inch cutting area, right? We have to turn it, we have to rotate it 90 degrees. So once everything is drawn out, then we would just rotate 90 degrees. I'll show you that in just a second, Darwin. I want to, like I can see from the preview, the blue lines and all, that it's going to carve exactly like I want it to carve. The areas of his face, right? His facial features. Imagine those being the features that are painted black, if you will, right? That's what I want. So all of his wrinkles and everything, I want, you know, his, all that detail to be down, you know, just like it is. So that looks good. Now, I'm happy with that. I don't need to reverse anything or do anything, you know, crazy with it. So I can do my profile cut. My profile cut. Cutting with a 1/4 inch end mill on the outside of the line. Add tabs if you need tabs and everything. And so, you know, this is going to be our sign here. But if I have to rotate to set it up for my table, my 2440, I'm going to go up to my job setup here, and I'm going to change this to 30. I'm going to change this to 22.5. So I'm basically reversing where the numbers are. I'm going to take the design, and I could hit the number 9 key to rotate counterclockwise, hit it twice, or I could use the rotate tool over here and rotate 90 degrees. I'm going to use my alignment tool to center it onto the board, and then I'm simply going to recalculate. I'm checking off all the toolpaths I want to recalculate, and I'm going to recalculate them, the visible toolpaths. Once that calculates, it's working on it. All right, toolpaths recalculated successfully. We can preview that. And of course, it would help if we get into the 3D view and reset the preview. Preview the visible toolpaths. And so everything is just 90 degrees, Darwin. Okay. So we just change our board around and then just rotate everything 90 degrees so it cuts out and fits on our machine. Okay. And, you know, we can have some fun with it. Right? So let's do one more as far as the signs go, and then we'll create something, lastly, we'll create something a little bit different. Let's get this guy on the board. And let's rotate 90 degrees. I'm going to, let's draw out a bit of a tombstone, if you will. And I'm doing this sideways now because I've got it kind of laid out for the board. But let's go here. And let's go all right, let's take that. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, hit the number 9 key twice. I'm going to come over and snap this over to here, drag this over to there, and pull this up like that. That'll work. Okay, I'm going to weld those, oops. I'm going to weld those two vectors together, but first of all, I'm going to make sure that I am snapped to that darn corner. Snap to that corner. Let me just snap the other one. Okay. All right, we're going to take and weld those two shapes together. Okay. And we're going to take this guy here and move him down. Let's go up a little bit. Right about there. I want to go into node editing, and I want to take this point and this point, and I want to use my right arrow key, and I want to drive that down. I want to take this and use my up arrow key and pull that forward. Give me a second here. Tombstone shapes. Give me a moment. Oh, okay. I was wondering why it looked so odd. Bear with me. All right, let's select that, and align to the center. And then I'm going to bring it down. Oh, not the whole thing. That's centered. I want to bring this down. Right like that. I want to offset this outward. 1 inch. And I want a rectangle here. I want to offset that inward 1 inch. Okay, let's take our outside shape, this and this, and weld that together. Actually, I want him a little bit thicker. Let me undo that. I want this base a little thicker. All right, outside shape, let's weld that together. Actually didn't even need this one. And bear with me, I'm not done yet. All right, I'm going to take this, I'm going to hold down the control key, and I'm going to drag out a copy, and I'm going to hit the number 9 key to rotate that copy twice. And I'm going to shorten this up. I'm going to align those two center on one another for the moment. And I'm going to pull this one up. About there. And weld those together. 90-degree rotation. Give me just a moment. I want why is that shape not that's not going to cut it. Give me just a second. Undo that. I need him down a little bit further. All right, one more time. Node editing. Change that to an arc and pull that in ever so slightly. Change this to an arc. Pull that in ever so slightly. Center him. There we go. All right, let's center him on something is not centered. Give me just a moment. Offset inward 1 inch. That's what I was looking for. Okay, all right, that's what I'm looking for. Sorry. Took me a minute there. It's like, what the hell? Okay, so trim. No, that'll look stupid. Hold on a second. I need a longer board. Is what I need. Let's bring this down. I'll bring that down. I don't know why it looks so much closer over here than it does over there. That's driving me nuts, guys. Give me a second. I need some continuity here. So I need to make sure that everything here is matching up. I'm going to go into node editing mode, and I'm going to cut the vector right down the middle. Cut it here, and I'm going to cut it here. And I'm going to get rid of this lower half, and I'm going to take this upper half and mirror it vertically. I'm going to join these two halves together with a straight line. Okay. And I'm going to make sure that this is centered, which it is. I'm going to make sure that this is centered, which it is. I'm going to offset this inward 1 inch. We're getting there. And I'm going to trim that. And I'm going to trim and I'm connecting it to the outside boundary. So I got to ungroup this so that I can trim and connect it to the outside boundary here. Okay. Now, this should I should be able to do a pocket cut. I'm going to do a V-carve type pocket cut. And I guarantee I trimmed this incorrectly, so bear with me a second. Control Z to undo that last trim right there. I need this to be offset. Oh, you son of a gun. Stand by. I'm losing my mind here. I need this to be offset inward, and I'm only going to go 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Oh, Lord be. All right, so this gets trimmed and connected here. That's gone. This gets trimmed. That's gone. Trim. Basically, I should be able to see the cross there. Down here, I'm just going to trim this, this, and that. I got to ungroup this. Over here, I'm going to trim this, that, and that. And I should be able to select this lower part of this cross and hit delete, and this one and hit delete. And I should have a cross there just like that. Okay, Lordy B. All right, now I should be able to, at this point now, select this entire vector here. And he is all connected together there. That's good. I should be able to select that entire vector and V-carve toolpath. 1/8 of an inch flat depth, same 60 degree and V-bit. Sorry guys and girls, that one took a minute to get through. Let that calculate. We all still there? We all still there. Yeah, Gary, no, I fight things too, especially when I get halfway through something and then I look back and go, oh, I'm missing this offset, or I'm missing that offset, or I should have done this or should have done that. So you're seeing me go through and, try to find and fix my mistakes. Ronnie says, Laney, when carving the purple styrofoam, can you cut this using only one pass, or would it be multiple passes? No, you should be able to do it in one pass. It's foam. I mean, you don't want to build up too much heat or anything. It shouldn't build up a whole lot of heat. There's not a lot of resistance on it. But one pass would be, as long as the pass does not exceed the cutting flute of the bit. If it does, do it in 2 passes. Because if it exceeds the cutting flute of the bit, then the shank is kind of, it's hitting and rubbing and it's causing heat and it's melting that rubber. I want to see if I trim this. I think my inside of my cross is not trimmed correctly. I want to see if I trim this correctly, and I'll know here in the preview in just a second. I'll know in just a second. I believe that I missed a trimming on the inside of the cross, but I'm not sure. I won't know. I can't do anything until it's finished calculating. But what I should get is everything around this image should pocket down. If I don't get that, then I need to create an additional offset on this main design that looks like a clump of just gray. You'll see the details in just a moment. But I either need to create an additional offset for that to create an outside vector, like a little island, if you will, for it to carve on, or I need to, or it'll come out just right here when it's finished calculating. I don't think it's going to come out right the way it's calculating. I don't think it's going to come out right the way it's calculating. It should have been straightforward. I'm actually going to stop that. And I want to kind of inspect this on my own. if I'm going to use the undo button, and I'm going to undo this trimming of this cross. Okay, now on my design here, if I were to V-carve this straight up, just that, right? It should look like, wait for it. Wait for it. Standing by. David, I'm going to make that announcement in just a second. Y'all stick with me for an announcement on some savings at the end of class. If that's what you're referring to, the 80% off sale. I'll explain that in just a moment. Okay, we're going to continue this through. There's a few overlaps inside of this vector. I'll show you where those are to clean up and everything, but we're going to let this calculate through. I want to show you what this should look like when it's calculated normally with no vectors or none of that stuff, you know, tied into it or any of that stuff. When this finishes calculating. And you'll understand my point in just a minute when you'll understand the point that I'm trying to make when it's finished calculating, and I can explain it a little bit better. You know, it's funny, when it was upright, 90 degrees, it didn't take very long to calculate at all. Now that it's turned sideways, it's taking a little time to calculate. It's funny. And I'm going to remove the 1/4 inch end mill out of the equation. Only need the 1/8 inch end mill for this. Come on now. You're not that complicated. Come on now. This should not be taking this long to calculate. There's nothing. I know there's a few little overlaps, but those are individual vectors. It shouldn't. I may have to go into the vector validator to clean it up. It shouldn't be that bad to where it's causing it to have to think this hard. It looks like a complicated design. It looks like a big old pink clump mess right now. You can't really see the detail. We'll zoom in and you'll be able to see it in just a moment. But okay. If it doesn't calculate after this pass here, then we'll go into the vector validator and see how bad. It shouldn't be that bad. I cleaned it up earlier, And I don't think I undid the cleanup that I'm aware of. I don't think I undid it. But let's see if yeah. All right, I'm going to stop the calculation. And we're going to do a vector validator. So the first thing I'm going to do is come over here and I'm going to ungroup it first. Let's see what our little issues are, if any. There should not be any. But like I said, upright, when it's upright, it's not 90 degrees. It carves, or it calculates quickly. Interesting enough. And that doesn't have anything to do with it. I don't know why it's like that, but 90% done on the vector validator. 92. %. Okay, all of that for 2 intersections right here. That little vector, all that searching and everything for 2 little intersections right here. So let's go into node editing and let's pull that down. Oh my goodness. All right. Now, we are going to calculate this, but we're going to take the 1/4 inch end mill out of the equation, and we're going to calculate this toolpath. One more time. So right now it's running the vector validator first. That's what it does at the beginning of every toolpath now, just to make sure there's no errors. That's what the blue line is indicating, the vector validator. 85, 86%, 87. This will be our last one for the night. Come on, come on, come on. %, 98 on the vector validator portion of the calculation, 99 and 100. No errors found, so now it's going to go through, that's the yellow line, it's going to calculate the toolpath. Interesting enough. And I can't rotate it 90 degrees to calculate toolpath because then I have to rotate it back 90 degrees. David says, should you do a curve fit on the data? As long as the curve, I could do a curve fit to remove some of the points and nodes and stuff, as long as the parameters were correct and I'm not distorting my design, because a curve fit is going to distort the design based on your parameters and everything. So I very rarely would ever do a curve fit on a project. Not saying that, there's not a time and a place for it, but I'm too worried that, especially on these such small, intricate drawings and everything, if my parameters aren't just so precise that it really makes no difference at all, that it actually distorts my design, then I'm not going to be happy. So on an intricate, detailed design like this, I don't do a curve fit on that. All right, so let's reset this preview and let's preview this visible toolpath. Okay, we're going to turn the board upright. Okay, so that's what we were waiting for to carve. Now, you see how this carves and everything? Well, I want it to carve just like this, but I want it to be raised, so that tells me that I need to do an offset around this for that pocket before I do any trimming with the cross and any of that stuff. Okay, so I want to take this vector here, and I'm going to, on the outside perimeter, the vector that goes all the way around the outside perimeter, I've got some stones and stuff here as well, so I might as well just select the whole thing. I'm going to do an offset outward. I'm going to go, for this, just a 1/16 of an inch. I don't want sharp corners. I'm going to offset this. And the only reason I'm offsetting this is just to create an outside perimeter. Okay? So, an island, if you will, for this to get carved on. An outside perimeter that's going to, everything's going to get carved around that perimeter, so it'll be raised up like a little island, and then that V carving is going to get carved on it. So that's what I'm creating the offset for, is to create the island right now. When it creates this offset, it's going to create a bunch of offsets instead of just the outside perimeter, because I have all of the vectors selected. I did that. I selected all the vectors just because of all the little individual floating vectors that were kind of out there. But what my goal is once this offset is created, wait for it. It's almost there. Tried to trick you and make you think it was done. Troy, the percentage I keep looking at is the far bottom left corner of the screen. It's hidden behind me. So if I were to move myself over to the right side of the screen, that percentage is over here where it says ready. Down at the very bottom, follow the mouse down. That percentage, the countdown percentage, is over here on the left. Okay. Okay. All right, so when we come over here, all I want is this outside island boundary, this outside boundary, so I'm going to turn it off. Everything else that's currently selected is getting deleted. Delete, hit that delete key. I want to delete that. I don't want those offsets. All I wanted was this new outside boundary right here. It's my island, if you will. Okay? Because that is what my cross is going to get trimmed to. So we're going to clean this up here at the top. But down here at the bottom, that's what my cross is going to get trimmed to, this new outside boundary. So here, here, and there. On the other side, here, here, and there. Okay. And then the remaining vectors of the cross get deleted. Okay. All right. Now I have an island, if you will. This pocket's going to get carved out. And I'm going to have that island, that's going around this design. So this is going to, when I select this, okay, select all of that and this here. The inside of the cross can remain for the moment. But we're going to do a V-carve toolpath. Again, a 1/4 inch. Now, a 1/4 inch would give it a little bit more depth, so let's do a 1/4 inch on this one. 1/4 inch, we're going to calculate this, and I can use a 1/4 inch end mill now for all this wide area here. So let's get a 1/4 inch end mill back in there in the game and calculate this. Wait for it. So while we're waiting, so we're not sitting here waiting in silence, for those of you that are interested, I got a deal for you. This past weekend was my birthday. Saturday was my birthday. And for the weekend, I announced to the Digital Woodcarver owners and to the Spindle TV subscribers group on Facebook, I gave them a coupon code for builditTV/shop. builditTV.com/shop for the models and all. The coupon code was Happy B Day. So I'll put that in the chat area. All capital letters, Happy B Day. And Happy B Day. And that coupon code gave you 80% off your entire order. 80% off your entire order. And it ended on Sunday. Well, I'm actually going to extend it until this coming Sunday. So literally, because some people, they don't get paid during the weekends and all that stuff, and they missed out on it. So I'm extending it all this week, and it'll end Sunday coming. This Sunday coming. But builditTV.com. I'll put that URL in the chat as well too. builditTV.com /shop. builditTV.com/shop. 80% off your entire order. And there was people that ordered everything is included. Holiday packs, your Christmas, Thanksgiving, October, there's Halloween packs, the 4th of July packs, the 2A packs, all the individual models. There's thousands or hundreds of models on there. Hundreds, not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds and hundreds of models on there. But the Christmas pack alone was $111, and 80% off of that brought it down to what, $30 or something like that. So it's big savings. And shop at builditTV.com/shop. Go pick out models and all. At the checkout, use the coupon code Happy B Day. Happy B Day. Happy birthday. Don't spell out birth. Happy B Day. And get 80% off your entire order. That helps you out. Gives you 80%. Big savings. Huge savings. And it also helps me out, right? It puts some money in my birthday fund. So it pays the bills. It keeps the lights on and stuff. So 80% off. It's a big savings all week long until Sunday. So take advantage of it. There's picture frames. There's clock. There's religious signs. There's animals. There's all kinds of flags and patriotic stuff. There are your holiday packs, Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving, um, 2A pack, 4th of July, all of that stuff, 80% off. So take advantage, take advantage, take advantage. Please. Please. All right, we are still calculating. It is working. It's working. It's working its way through. Here we go. All right, let's go ahead and preview the visible toolpath. Okay, let's do our profile cutout. Okay, and you know, that's a pretty cool looking casket. I'd probably change the shape a little bit. I was trying for that casket type shape or what have you. You know, down here in the text, you know, could put something like "Welcome to Hell." Don't cuss these kids around. But anyhow, you know, so something fun. Again, if you were really creative with your painting and stuff like that, you can make it look like stone, and you know, go from there. Can we advertise the sale on other boards and forums? Sure, David. You sure can. The more the merrier. 3D, they're 3D STL models. They're CRV projects, Vectric CRV projects, blended in with them as well, too. But now till Sunday at midnight it ends. But yeah, for sure. For sure. On David, the only forum or the only group that I would say not to put them on would be 3D models for CNC, Dario's page. I have respect for Dario. I like him. He's not a bad guy. You know, people talk bad about him sometimes, but I don't remember. Damn his last name, I can't remember. But he sells his own models and stuff, and that would be kind of that wouldn't be good. That would be shitty. Excuse my language, but it would be bad because his group, his page is for his 3D model packs and stuff like that. And if you know, to go advertise on that page 3D models for CNC, that wouldn't be good. But any other forum, absolutely open game, for sure, for sure. But so fun stuff. Now again, these graphics, you can find them on Etsy as SVGs or DXFs. You can find them on Etsy. You can find them on Google. There are a bunch of different cool graphics. There's a nice zombie one that we didn't get to or anything like that. There's another zombie one. There's a pumpkin and a bat. Right? What? I think it's 9:40. I think I'm going to close this out with a. So we had that. We have the casket and all. I'm going to close this out with a very simple Halloween sign. We're going to go here and we're going to go 24. We'll go 24 by 11 and a quarter. 24. A simple 1 by 12. 11 and a quarter. And as I do this, we're going to, you know, say our goodbyes and all that good stuff. But we're going to, for this, I'm going to start with a rectangle and just outline the entire board. I'm going to offset it inward 1 inch. With sharp corners, deleting the original. I'm going to throw some text in here. And of course I want, I'm going to go all caps. I don't know why, but I say that and then I just typed in all lowercase. Happy. All right, did I spell Halloween right? All right, let's see here. We're going to go, as we wrap up, we're going to go with a art brush is what I'm currently using right now. Let's go with a Berlin Sands. Nope, we're not going to go with Berlin Sands. It's cute, but no. Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. All right, I'm going to go 3 inches. We're going to center that on the board. And I have a pumpkin over here, a jack-o'-lantern. I'm going to drag that over. And I have a bat here. I'm going to drag that over. And, yeah. And the pumpkin, I'm going to size that down just a little bit. Not that small. And I'm going to move him on the board. Okay, we're going to go there. On him, I'm going to ungroup him. I'm going to select, ungroup him. I'm going to select the outside vector, and I'm going to offset that outward. And I'm only going to offset 1/8 of an inch. And I'm simply going to take the 2 borders, the square rectangle and the pumpkin here, and I'm going to weld them 2 together just to create this kind of outline around him. What? Yeah. Now, for the bat, I'm going to bring him over here. And I'm going to size him just a little bit, not much. I don't want him too small. But I'm going to kind of position him over the W, and I made 2 of them. Hold on a second. I'm going to size him down again. About like that. Cool beans. And last but not least, I used my spider web over here. So I'm going to bring in that image again of the spider web. And I'm going to trace that image again. Turn the fading off so y'all can see it. I'm a black and white trace 75 default corner fit, default noise filter. I'm going to preview that. And that looks good. Delete that image. I'm going to take that spider web and I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to hit the number 0 key on the keyboard and rotate it 90 degrees. And I'm going to drag that over here. I'm going to size it up a little bit. And I'm just going to overlap the corners ever so slightly there. Okay. And basically, I'm going to trim. First of all, I got to ungroup it. Ungroup. But I'm going to trim this outside boundary away, and then also this inside one. I want this to connect, kind of like you see there. Okie dokie, dokie dokie. All right, and then on my Halloween, Happy Halloween, I'm gonna convert this to a curve so I can get rid of the W, because the bat's gonna be the W. Okay. And the bat is going to overlap the E and the O. So on the bat, I'm going to ungroup him. I hit the letter U on the keyboard. I'm going to offset his outside boundary. I'm going to go 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to go a 1/16. I'll have it pretty close this time. So I'm going to go a 1/16 of an inch. Okay. And that boundary is going to be my trim boundary. So I'm going to select the O because there's two vectors and I'm going to group that together. I want that to be one item. And then I'm going to select the O and the E and group those together. And then I'm going to select, make sure they're selected first. I'm going to select that outside boundary and I'm going to trim clearing inside that boundary. Once I do that, then I'm going to get rid of that outside boundary. Okay. And so now we have that, right? Cool means. And last but not least, I want to go ahead and bring in another image. I'm going to bring in the image of the creepy, crawly spider. I'm going to trace that image. I'm going to size him down, bring him over here, and I'm going to I think I want him facing in towards the sign, not out away from the sign. So I'm going to mirror him. Not that way. I'm going to uncheck the, I don't want to make a copy or anything. I just want to mirror him. There we go. And I need to draw a little something to kind of connect him to the web, the World Wide Web. So let's go with I'm just going to use a curve tool, and I'm going to pick a spot and go there, spacebar to finish. Let's pick another spot. There, spacebar to finish. I'm going to go into node editing and tighten that up a bit. Let's pull things a little bit closer. Just nice and thin. Good enough. And I'm going to use my scissors. And before I can trim, I got to ungroup him. Now, he's grouped. This all gets created with that. I just want that outside boundary, and I went the wrong direction. I need to go inward in this case because it's connected to the border. So inward, a 1/16 of an inch. All I care about is what's happening on the E here. Okay. And then I'm going to select the E, select this boundary, and I'm going to trim, clearing inside the boundary. Let's reverse that. Clearing outside the boundary. There we go. And then I'm going to get rid of that boundary. Okay. So that spider's kind of overlapping that E a bit. All right. Let's go ahead and do some carving. So we're going to select the entire design. And let me make sure that he is going to carve correctly. He should. We're going to do a V-carve toolpath, and this is going to be our goodbyes. V-carve toolpath. We're going to do an 1/8 of an inch flat depth, 60-degree V-bit, 1/4 and 1/8 inch end mill for our clearing. We're going to do it as a raster because I want to cut with the grain, and we're going to calculate this. Okay, I do want to go to the vector validator on this one. I want to take that second and see what's overlapping and what I might have missed. Okay, on my pumpkin, these little pixels, right? So I'm going to get rid of any of these square pixels. The round ones I'll keep, but all the square pixels I want to get rid of. So all these little figure eights, that's all it is. That's all it is, those little figure eights. And all right, one more time. Let's go ahead, and now that I know that it's isolated to that pumpkin, I'm just gonna, if it comes up again, I'm just gonna click continue anyway. But let's see how we did here. All right, now, the Happy Halloween, the spider web, the spider, and the bat, everything there turned out exactly like I wanted. The pumpkin, however, did not. So, I want to come in here and I need to create an island here for the pumpkin to carve on. A bit of an island. So, once again, on the pumpkin, I'm going to select this outside boundary. And I'm going to offset outward. I'm going to do 2 offsets on it. I'm going to offset outward 3/16 of an inch, 0.1875. And, oops, wrong direction. Outward. Okay. Now that outward boundary is going to give me something to trim to. Once again here, I'm going to trim this inside vector here all the way around, and this inside vector here all the way around. I want a bit further, outward. Okay, on that boundary, I want that to be out just a little bit further because on this pumpkin, I'm going to do another offset, but this time only 1/16 of an inch outward. And that one is going to stay there. It's not going to get trimmed or anything. So we're going to come back and recalculate that one more time. We're going to reset that preview and preview the visible toolpath. All right. So that is how we will leave that. Now, just for your reference, for this particular font, just the general font, it's called Bubbly, right? Just a general text font called Bubbly. The spider web is just a corner web vector, a graphic image off of the internet. The spider and the bat vector, spider vector, bat vector, and then jack-o'-lantern vector, right? So those images were what we traced to create those vectors. The jack-o'-lantern, because of its carving, we created an offset for the border. So the border goes around the jack-o'-lantern just to give a little bit of detail shape to that border. And then we did another offset to create an island. Let's turn off the color for a minute. Create this island for this carving to occur on. Okay. We wanted all that detail carving, but we needed an island to carve on. So we did that 1/16 of an inch offset, right? The spider web in the corner, we simply just overlapped our corner border slightly and we trimmed away the overlaps. Okay. Just to create that corner there. And we use the bat to replace the dub. Fright this way. Let's get smashed with a pumpkin. We could do that with a jack-o'-lantern, just like I just did. Let's get smashed. That's funny. But all kinds of neat fun stuff and everything. But fun Halloween yard art. The ghost, cats and witches and the triple-headed pumpkin and all that could be made with the foam. What do you call it? Candy corn. Candy corn. That's fun. Kind of thing. All that. It could be. Haunted mansion stuff, but it could be plywood, it could be foam. The foam is just kind of stands up to the rain and the weather, you know what I mean, and everything. But all kinds of fun stuff to do on the Halloween. If you have a privacy fence, wooden privacy peekers, fence peekers and all that, little skeleton, or it could be a zombie, right, something like that. But should be able to have some fun with it. Be creative, and just enjoy, right? Not only this, you got Thanksgiving coming up, gobble gobble. You've got Christmas coming up and Hanukkah and all kinds of stuff. Just be creative. Think about things that you could do. This again went and grabbed a vector or a little graphic image of a bat, a spider, a corner spider web, and a jack-o'-lantern. Trace those images to get the vectors, and we're able to kind of throw together a fun little sign, right? And it's a sign, you think, oh man, Halloween's only one day, I don't want to do that. But people buy stuff like this for their holidays, and they go in the attic when they're not using it. They pull them out every year, just like Christmas decorations and stuff. So you may be making a sign out of wood or something, but it's not a one-time use, or that foam, kind of store in a basement or an attic or something till next year or the year after, and should hold up pretty well, right? So that being said, it's 10:02. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. Until next time, guys and girls, I want to thank you very much. Y'all have a wonderful day. 80% off. Use Happy Bee Day at buildittv.com/shop. You can filter it. Now, the first pages are a bunch of frames and all. Over on the top left of the page is a filter. You can filter through categories and stuff to get to where you want to get to. But 80% off until next Sunday. Spread the word. Happy Bee Day is the coupon code. All right, guys and girls. Until next time, we'll see you soon.